All right, welcome to take 800. So today we'll be doing a Zenless Zone 0 closed beta test 2 review. So let's talk about the combat system, okay? Let's talk about the basics, right? And no, the combat system of Zenless Zone 0 isn't a hit basic attack 800 times, okay? So first, you have your special attack, yeah? Your special attack is your E, your normal skill, your elemental skill of your fucking Genshin player. Like, well, probably a majority of you guys because you watch my channel at some point. Right, and then you have your EX special attack, which is your enhanced special attack when you have energy, right? So your normal special and your EX special, you have enough energy, right? And then your counter attack and then your QTE. The game works generally based on these mechanics. Your special, your EX special, your dodge counter, and your chain attack. And I guess the ultimate, right? We're in the Abyss right now, basically. So in the Abyss, you slowly gather character for your team instead of having all your team members ready in one go, right? You see my skill right now, right? My skill right now isn't a rainbow color because I have 0 energy. My energy is up here like this. Every single character has like a limit on their energy up here. If you pass that limit, your normal skill becomes an EX skill. Let me try swapping and... now you can see, right? Now you see my E button down there. That E button is now a rainbow button, right? Rather than a normal gray button because I have enough energy, as you can see, yeah? And your ult, which is your Q, is a completely different mechanic as well, right? So we've talked about your skill, your E, and how your E can go from gray into rainbow. And we have your ult, right? Your ult is your Q. You only unlock your ult when this number right here, this combo meter, reach 3000 is when you can slowly unlock your ultimate, okay? I hope this isn't way too dang for you. And the break meter, yeah? So you can see the enemy right now. They have a bar under their health bar, right? If you fill up that bar, you can do a quick time attack if you hit them again when the bar is filled, yes? Are we getting all these noted, chat? Are you noting all this? Parry is if you hit spacebar. You can see my spacebar button over here. I have 3 parries, right? Your spacebar is your parry button, but also your character swap button. The main gimmick of this game is breaking enemy shield for a follow-up attack and parries, okay? So let me do a parry. If I do a parry right now, their bar fills and I can do a follow-up attack, right? Like that. Or if I fill the bar manually, I can also do the follow-up attack. Okay, that guy just dies. Parry, fill up the bar, do follow-up attack is the core gameplay of this game, right? If you left click or just spam one button all the time, you will fill up your break meter bar very slowly, and this chain attack bar will also fill up very slowly. At 3000 of that chain attack, you start to be able to use your ultimate. I think if you get hit or other stuff, that bar also goes down, right? This is the Abyss, so like, I guess it's more like Sim Universe Abyss. It's your freaking weekly content you do so that you can unlock like 3 pulls every like month or so. And the TV screen you just saw, if you've played Honkai Star, it's like the Swarm, essentially, right? You can see I have a 3000 points bar right now. That's why I have my ult right here. So your energy bar is for your enhanced E, and the combo meter is for your ult. Okay? That makes sense? Are you guys noting all this? Once I get my 3rd character on my team, I can show you guys some fancy combo rotations. But for now, this is the main game, right? Look, an enemy, right? You start combat by either a parry, or you can do a big hit to break their shield and then do a follow-up. And this character is kind of dumb because like she's the only character that can move during the follow-up. During your follow-up QTE animation, you are in iframe, so you don't take damage, right? As I said before, you only have 3 parries, right? You only have 3 parries pre-counter. You can see my spacebar, the parry right here, right? I have 3, right? And red attacks are not parryable. So yellow attacks are parryable and red attacks are not parryable. The parry in this game is very easy to do because if you hear the shing sound, you just hit space or you hit dodge, right? And my little guy is giving me energy. Look at my spacebar button. Now I have 2 parries left, right? This game works around breaking enemy shield, doing your follow-up attack, QTE, and then parrying. The game has changed a lot because in the closed beta test 1, there was no parry button. In closed beta test 2, the parry button becomes very paramount on your gameplay because it makes the gameplay very flashy, very active, and I'd say quite fun, right? If you don't do it, it's more like a left-click simulator, right? If you parry like this, break enemy shield, and then you can do a follow-up attack. And the follow-up attack recovers your parry, yeah? So Parry costs 1 charge, however, the follow-up recovers the parry. So against mainly trash mob, as I said before, 95% of the game, the enemies are like just punching back to you, and only bosses are really like the difficult fights, basically, right? Because in boss fight, their shield bar breaks a lot slower, which kind of makes it so that you recover your parries slower, so you can't break their shield fast enough, right? It's satisfying, right? If I don't do a parry for this character, I can just hold E, press E, space E, and I get a break, right? That's the active way to do it if you're not fishing for parries, right? Some tedious range enemy also like, what's the word? It staggers you mid-attack, so it could be quite annoying. You can see a lot of fancy effects and animation happening on screen, but I promise you, the inputs I'm doing are like less than 3 button presses. So this is a boss enemy, right? The boss also has stuff you can parry. You can parry boss like this. And the most annoying thing about this game is range attack, because range attack is just a turbo cheese mechanic. I have 2 characters here instead of 3, so this is gonna be kind of tedious. Oh yeah, I'm playing an ice team as well, so they kind of get frozen a lot. Boss has separated H3 ball on top, right? Oh yeah, these are more like elites. That is true. Slap, 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 and he's dead. Okay. Okay, now I have 3 characters. If the combat encounter allows it, I can show you a long fight against a boss, maybe. Let's start to do big hits if the game does allow me to. Fish for parry. I get my first follow-up. For Sakaku, I can move from here to here. And go for another one. I didn't swap the Sakaku there. I swapped the Shark. That was my bad. Oh, fucking laser trap. The decibel meters will rise when you break the enemy shield or do a quick time event, which is like when you break the enemy shield, you can do a quick, right? Oh, so this is like a mini boss, right? You can parry the mini boss as well. As you can see, during the parry animation, you are immune to damage, but then I end my parry animation and like I got hit by a trap, so that's pretty funny. Now there's a second mini boss in the back, but because I have the follow-up, I'm also immune to damage during this time. The boss is still triggering the break animation, so I can still stay immune to damage, right? It's like spamming ults on like team rotation in Genshin, essentially. I'm gonna wait for a parry on the boss. I land 1 parry, and then the boss is stunned again. Now that the boss is stunned again, I can go for like a another hit, trying to break its shield. The number went to 100, so now I can do another follow-up, right? So essentially, 90% or 95% of the game, you're gonna have enemy stun lock, except when you're fighting like maybe 2-3 bosses that are kind of like unCCable, or their break bar is very high, right? I feel like the combat system is mainly built around the parry so far, right? So, for example, this is the boss, right? Whenever I can damage it, I can hit my ult here, so I can burn my decimal meter. So the 3000 decimal meter now disappears and have to go back to rebuilding it, right? That attack is a red attack, so it's unparryable. Now let me go slap it a little bit for the slapping mechanic. You can see on the bar on the right side, it says 70, right? 78 something, right? If that bar goes up to 100, the shield is broken, right? That bar is on like every single enemy, but bosses show the big bar, right? That was a parry on the boss, so now I get a parry, right? I get a QTE, right? I can go for a QTE into another one, because this is a boss fight, right? And that's essentially the gameplay loop of the game, yeah? That's a red, so you can't parry that. That's also a red, so you can't parry that. XDD, I missed the dodge. Oh, I dodged back in. That's parryable, so you can parry because it's a gold. Now I get a follow-up. Let's go for the Sakaku. Into Shark Girl. Into Vaughn. And back to Sakaku for some slappies. And then I'll hit ult again, I think. It will be XDD on mobile, if I'm honest. I think this game works pretty well on mobile. I think the game mechanic isn't difficult at all. I think it's pretty easy to follow, but staying on the field and auto attacking all the time is relatively rough because you will take more random damage because you're not in iframe and so on, if that makes sense. And this boss is unfrozenable, so you can actually see the game mechanic, right? Let me start with ult. Freeze blessing against a boss. XDD. As you can see, I parried quite late there, but the parry still hit, right? Red attacks are unparryable, so you dodge it. Unparryable again, but I fucking got all my character hit because of the lingering hitbox. Woo! Slap, 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 slap. Impaired. I broke one of its legs. Now I can do damage. Impaired. Keep breaking his leg, and now I can break the shield for a follow-up. I go for Sakaku. Into Shark. Into Vaughn. My second phase. Let me run far away because the weird AoE giant attack shit. Now I can run in again. I'm gonna ult. Okay. Give me the iframe ult. I can hit this. Impaired. I broke one of its legs. Now I can swap again. And now time to fan. Slap, 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 slap. Go for another swap. Can you give me a parry or another non-parryable attack? Very cool. Another non-parry. Lingering hitbox is my most hated thing of this game. Again. I get a follow-up. So when I get a follow-up, my chain attack meter is gonna fill up super quickly. When it fills up super quickly, I get my ult, so I can ult again now that I have 3,000 stack. But I'm going to save my ult because the boss hasn't stand up yet, because my ult gives me an iframe. So when the boss stands up and starts to attack me again, I'll hit ult like this. Now I can fill up the meter again. That attack was parryable, but I was in ult animation, so I can't parry it. Another non-parryable attack. Another non-parryable attack. Another... No, parryable! Woo! Let's go, finally! Non-parryable again. Non-parryable again. Now, this fight is kind of biased, because it's actually one of the fights where you have to actually dodge and parry and shit. Like, the fight looks fun, right? But what I'm trying to say is these fights don't happen often. This is like once in a while fight, basically, you know? This is like one of the fight that's actually very interactive. There's no healers and shielders in this game. Actually, I lied. There's one character that broke the rule and one character that can put an AoE shield on all your teammates. I don't know why they keep doing this. Okay, talking is kind of... So right now, I'm clearing basically what is essentially the Abyss, but with 0 gear, right? That's what I'm essentially doing. Now I'll wait for the attack, and then I'll hit ult. I think I missed a couple of hits because the boss was moving away from me. Now that it's impaired, let me just slash and that should be done, right? The game is pretty clearable with 0 gear. Not exactly 0 gear. I probably have like a couple piece, like 2 or 3 piece that I upgraded. That's basically the Abyss stuff of the game, right? If you've come from like Genshin or like Honkai Star Rail, this game elemental reaction is more of like Honkai Star Rail than Genshin. As in, there's no elemental reaction like melt, freeze, or whatever when you combine multiple elements together. This game is more of like a mono element kind of thing. It's basically resonance, right? Every single character has a different passive. This is the resonance. This is what I was talking about, right? So as you can see here, additional ability Rising Storm. When there's at least 2 ice character in the team, she gets a bonus for more ice damage and even more ice damage when enemy is stunned, right? And if there's 2 slash agent on your team, your EX, so your enhanced skill, has an extra effect and generate 1 more point of flash freeze, right? Which is one of her core gimmick, right? And then for example, for this character, if there's 1 slash and 1 strike, electric enemy, his dodge counter does more damage and his EX does more. When there's 2 ice agent, his change attack, his QTE basically generate more energy. For this character, there's 2 ice agent and 1 slash, 1 strike. Your chain attack hits a stun enemy. Their stun multiplier is multiplied, right? And then your EX special gain more decibel, stuff like that, right? Every single character has a passive that kinda usher them into a way where you want to run them on like a mono element team. Because for example, this character, when there's 2 electric agent, you do 30% more electric damage, stuff like that, right? It's quite a lot, right? And I'm pretty sure this is like everyone's favorite character this beta test. The Machine Mom. It's way too early for team building, but so far, the game is working in a way where there is like character that are opener character. So you can trigger counter on another character, or you can trigger like a break so you can do your QTE, right? Your chain attack. The team building that I run on my team, and so far, the teams that have worked are Ben plus Kaleda is probably the hardest hitting damage team right now, because I remember Kaleda in close beta test 1 can do percentage max health damage to bosses, which is kind of broken. They removed that, but she still is the hardest hitting nuke character in the game. Second one is probably this character. Corin is Eula at E6, basically. She's basically Eula. I didn't play her this time around. They buff her a lot. She can work as an opener as well, in my opinion. An opener as in a character that can really quickly break an enemy shield so that you can follow up on another character on the QTE. The more QTE you do, the more counter you do, the more break you do, the faster you get your ult, right? That's why I don't like this character too much. I think her and Soldier 11 is kinda odd because they're basic attack character. They are good, but I feel like they kind of force her to be good by making her have a lot of damage. Her damage ratio is quite question mark sometimes. She's more of a QTE rather than opener, but she can sit on the field essentially, right? Right now, I feel like the game is just a lot more fun on like a swap team rather than a counter team. There's like a really cool Rina combo, but like when I see new players play Rina, I think they do this. I see a lot of my friends play Rina. They're new to ZZZ, right? This is what they do. They just sit on like 3 billion miles away and auto attack the enemy. The game just looks so ass if you do this. I guess some people would enjoy this gameplay, but I really don't like this character. She has a good follow-up though, I think, right? But I'm sorry, I'm a melee enjoyer. That character is just not for me unless you play her on a triple lightning QTE team, right? I don't know if this is good or bad. If you just started the game and you know a little bit of Zenless Zone Zero, you probably see this character, right? Billy, Nicole, and Anby, right? These characters are the 3 free characters you get, right? But let me talk about Billy. Billy kind of changed a lot from CBT1, and he has a very cool mechanic. CBT2 added a parry mechanic into the game, and I kid you not, Billy Constellation 2. If you do a dodge attack, it will turn into a dodge counter. A perfect dodge will turn into a counter. I don't know how to feel about this. Your perfect dodge turned into perfect counter, which is kind of, I don't know about that. You need some skill to do it? Ain't no way. The dodge doesn't take that much skill. Some skill, sure, I agree, right? But it's not that difficult. It's free decibel farming. You can get your ult really fast with him. I don't have that Eidolon though, right? And then let's talk about this character. This character has been the most used character for boss fight and for especially the CN player base, because this is basically Beidou on steroids or like Candace, I guess. So when you hold E, you get a shield. If you block an attack, you parry. You are invulnerable to damage during the blocking animation. If you have enough energy, you are also invulnerable to damage during the attack animation. So this character kind of cheese boss fight. And this character is also broken because remember when I said that there's no healing and shielding in the game? Well, this is the only character in the game that can give your team an AoE shield. So when you do a follow-up attack on your enhanced skill, so if you have enough energy and do enhanced skill, you gain a shield based on 15% of your defense lasting 30 seconds, right? If you have 2 strike damage character in your team, you'll provide the shield to all your teammates instead of only to yourself. So if you stack a lot of defense and energy recharge, this is Zhongli. Okay. He's also a character that has a dual ultimate, right? So him and Kaleda has a dual ultimate. If you have two of them under the same team and you hit ult, two of them appear on their ult and their combo ult does more damage, right? I think Miyabi and Sakaku was also meant to have a dual ult, but Miyabi isn't available on this beta test, right? Oh, let me talk about the stats first, right? The stats, we have the damage type here. So slash, strike, and pierce. Some enemies are weak to certain types. Some enemies are strong to certain types, right? That's essentially it. How does crit work? Is that a real question? So critical rate determines how the chance of you landing a critical hit is. And critical damage determines how much damage you do on a crit. There's also pen ratio and pen. They do a pretty good job explaining the site. Impact. Attacking enemy increases their days. Higher impact stat allow more days to accumulate with each attack. So impact is basically how fast you break the enemy shield. If you come from Honkai Star Rail, it's basically break efficiency, not break effect. Crit rate, crit damage. Pen ratio. Attack ignores a portion of target's defense on the pen ratio stat when attacking enemy. Ignores a set amount of defense based on the pen stat. So there's like armor pen and flat pen. If you come from League of Legends, this is armor pen and lethality. I'm sorry for a League of Legends reference here, but I don't know how else to explain this. Attribute mastery is elemental mastery. Energy regen. After entering combat, agent passively regenerate energy. The higher this value, the more energy is gained, right? So once again, your ultimate isn't determined on how much energy you get. The energy you get is to use your normal skill or your enhanced skill. Your ultimate is when you get 3000 decibel number, you can cast your ultimate on one of your character. Yeah. Energy regeneration rate is more energy through attacking. Energy regen is energy per second. Energy limit is how much energy you can store. Damage bonus, days bonus, and anomaly rate bonus is anomaly built up. So for example, like I have more anomaly built up on this character. That means I'll trigger my freeze more. So this is a physical. So physical break would be deal massive damage. Ice and physical reduce resistance, and ether has the funny thing where you make enemy attack each other, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but like Nicole cannot use her passive because she's the only ether character in the game. Is Miyabi not in the beta? Miyabi was on the first beta test, but she got removed in this beta test and 3 new characters was added. I'm pretty sure Miyabi is going through a rework right now because Miyabi on the first beta test, her follow-up was kind of disgusting. Or was it her ult? She zooms through the enemy and zooms back and pull everything in one location, which was it was just kind of it's like Ellen but on roids, right? Basically. So Ellen counterattack is my favorite counterattack, right? You teleport behind an enemy and you group everything together, right? Miyabi was like that, but on steroid, right? But during the first beta test, parry mechanic wasn't in the game, so the game would feel a little bit more monotone. This time around, the parry mechanic made the game more diverse a little bit, right? Too fast, slow down, code. I'm literally pressing 2 buttons. If you've never played the game before, you think the game requires like gamer inputs, but I'm pressing 2 buttons. There is like an archive thing, but this archive is kind of useless. It explains jack shit. Perfect dodge, paw, perfect assist. You can do a perfect dodge into a counter attack or a perfect counter into a counter attack, right? Attribute anomaly is electric will stun robots, fire will burn flesh, and ether will make them kiss each other. I mean, fight each other, right? But yeah, I think this is a decent gameplay showcase of ZZZ, where it also like uses the game mechanic rather than just, you know, sitting still and left clicking, right? Why did I attack a 0 health enemy? Hello? Did the auto target me into a box? But yeah, okay, I think that's it for this, right?